What up, my G's? Thank you for being here again. I really appreciate you coming back. In today's episode, we're going to talk about food. Yeah, what's going on with our food. In the previous episode, we talked about what was going on with our bread, but there was so many more questions so many questions that came up and so many more things that I want to cover about food. But because the episode was about bread, I decided to make this episode about food so we can dive a little deeper about that. First of all, we need to ask, what was God's original creation for food? What was his purpose? Why was it designed the way it was? Real quick, let's see what this guy has to say.
Why do walnuts look like brains? You've got to watch this.
This might make your jaw drop. Stay with me, let me cook. God's pharmacy. God made walnuts. He also made brains. They look a lot alike. Turns out walnuts are actually great for the brain, rich in omega and fatty acids. God made beets. And have you ever thought beet juice looks a whole lot like our blood? Deep red color mirrors blood. Beets support blood purification and liver function. God made tomatoes. And what do tomatoes look like? The heart. I mean, tomatoes even have 4 chambers like a heart, and when you eat them, it helps with heart disease. God made avocados, and those look a whole lot like a baby's womb. And what do avocados do? They're rich in folate, which helps with reproductive health. God made grapes, and they look a whole lot like human lungs. And God made sure they were high on antioxidants, which is great for lung health. God made mushrooms, and look, they look like ears. And they're rich in vitamin D, which supports ear bones and helps hearing.
He has a point. He does have a point. We didn't mention moringa though, but moringa doesn't really look like any part of the body, but all of those nutrients you get in one plant, which is moringa.
I thought, I've never read this.
At least in some cases, God designed the shape of food to mirror the part of the body that it helps to support. Some great examples are celery, helps support bone health. Tomatoes help support heart health. Beet juice helps support blood health. If you look at beet juice, it looks just like blood. Carrots, the cross-section of a carrot helps support eye.
That's really interesting. And wow, I didn't really I'm a very observant person. Well, at least I think. And seeing the carrot cut like that in a ring, I've seen that plenty of times, but I've never associated it with the eyes, and I can actually see the resemblance. I hope you do too.
Health. Walnuts support brain health. Yeah.
It looks just like brain.
Yeah.
Oh, this is insane that God designed the shape of food to match the body. What is pizza smash? I'm just kidding.
That was a good joke, I guess.
If we want to get back to the Edenic ideal that God established from the beginning, then we have to start living like that now. It's the only way it happens. We have to start going back to the original form of diet. And why would we choose the later form of diet, which Christians typically will justify, right? Well, after that though, Noah comes along, then God commands flesh consumption and all this. It's like, yeah, because of sin, because in the beginning it was not so, the Bible says. So why would we err on that side of the diet that came after sin is introduced into the world? I want to go back to the diet we were given before sin entered the picture, according to the biblical narrative, obviously.
Christians believe once sin came into the world that Satan is now the god of this world. So once Satan became god of this world is when flesh consumption skyrocketed and became the mainstay. But wouldn't it make more sense to eat in alignment with the way of the ideal when God was the ruler of this world and not Satan?
My personal preference, yeah.
That was pretty good. Have you ever asked yourself how modern food production has transformed what we eat? I know I haven't asked myself that before, but making this video is actually making me question that, right? All these chemicals, all these preservatives, all these ultra processed. Anyway, let's see how it has transformed exactly what we eat. All right, listen.
You would need to eat 4 oranges a day to get the same vitamin C as 1 orange in the 1950s. It is not just oranges. This trend is consistent amongst almost all fruits and vegetables in the last 50 to 100 years. Agriculture has shifted to prioritize breeding.
Okay, well, that one's actually easily explainable. Have you guys seen the soil in this country? It looks gray and dull, right? It's like depleted of all its nutrients. The good soil is black, rich, earthy. It smells like a little bit of mold or fungus because there's mycelium in there. And that is full of natural bacteria. It's full of all these minerals and nutrients that the actual plants need so they can become healthier for us. I think everybody in their house should actually grow something, start a little compost, and try to build their own soil, because this thing that we get in Warehouse? What do you call these stores? You know, Home Depot and Lowe's. I forgot. Warehouse stores? Is that what they're called? Hey, it don't matter. What we get in these places, they come with pesticides in them. Most of them, at least. I don't know. Honestly, I just don't believe anything that says organic that comes from a big box store. I just can't. You know, I'd rather just go to a website and purchase it. But the problem is that's easier said than done. Those prices are usually more expensive. You have to pay for shipping, and you lose the discount of convenience. Anyway,
larger crops, more of them, and more shelf-stable ones for grocery stores. We are at a crossroads between these beautiful-looking, massive fruits and vegetables that are also becoming less and less nutrient-dense. Industrial farming has also led to soil depletion, with farmers
what I just said.
incentivized to get their food to the stores faster. The plants have less time to absorb the key minerals and vitamins from the soil. But what does this actually mean today? Ideally, you would want to buy your food from regenerative farms and get your food from farmers markets and local and seasonally as much as possible. But let's be honest, this is just not realistic for everyone. You would need
No, because it's just too expensive. But he has a point. We should try our best to go to locals, farmers markets, and just, you know, even our neighbors. That's why they keep constantly suggesting, and I suggest it too. Just grow something. If you don't have a green thumb, just grow one vegetable, and then you can trade that for something else. You know, just try growing carrots or potatoes. You know, eventually you're gonna be really good at one of them. So just try growing celery. All you got to do is cut them, and you don't have to even replant them. They'll keep growing. And who knows? You can trade celery for your neighbor. You're like, hey, let me get some potatoes. I got some celery here. You know.
Nothing you eat is truly natural anymore, and most people have no idea how engineered their food really is. This isn't new. Humans have been redesigning food for thousands of years, just not this aggressively. That natural fruit you love? It looks nothing like what existed hundreds of years ago. Modern crops aren't just grown, they're optimized for size, shelf life, and profit over everything else. Most foods you see aren't whole anymore. They're rebuilt from refined ingredients inside factories.
You know what I used to say growing up? If God exists, why did he make everything that's bad for us taste amazing, and everything that's good for us taste disgusting? But the older I get, the more I think we got that completely backwards. Because it wasn't God that changed the food, it was us. Imagine you've been walking for 2 days, you're starving, you finally find olives, mushrooms, anchovies, sardines, fresh berries. Would you really turn your nose up at them? Of course not. Those foods are packed with nutrients your body actually needs. What's changed is our taste buds. For decades, we've been eating foods designed by scientists and marketers to hit the perfect combination of sweetness, saltiness, and flavor. Foods engineered to light up your brain and keep you coming back for more. So now, real food can seem boring. But here's the strange thing. When people stop eating ultra-processed food for a few weeks, something incredible happens. Fruit starts tasting sweeter, vegetables taste better, and the foods they once craved suddenly taste overwhelmingly sweet, salty, or artificial. Maybe healthy food was never the problem. Maybe we've just spent so long eating factory-made food that we've forgotten what real food is supposed to taste like. Go out and eat an olive, get some wild-caught mackerel, eat some fish, some sardines, some anchovies, real proper salty levels of goodness designed by nature. One love.
Honestly, I believe it's the excess of salt in food. Too much salt actually burns your taste buds, and so does MSG. A lot of people call MSG carcinogen, although it has been proven that it causes cancer in like rats and lab mice and all that. MSG is actually naturally occurring in cheese and tomatoes. But like everything, if we overconsume one specific product that our body doesn't flushes out properly, it's just going to be bad for us.
If you have cheap corn, you're going to have cheap meat and cheap milk and cheap butter. Many of the problems in the whole food system can be traced to that very fact that we grow these vast monocultures. And they're not exactly food. You can't eat the kind of corn we grow. And the soybeans are not edamame. They're a different kind. And they're basically big packets of starch and protein that can be broken down into their component parts and then reassembled as ultra-processed foods or turned into sugar, high fructose corn syrup, which is where a lot of it ends up. You can't take a corn cob and eat it. It's like these giant kernels that are incredibly hard. You'd break your teeth. And they're just pure starch. They have none of the sweetness that sweet corn has. You see these vast fields and you think, oh, all food. But no, it's not. It has to pass through a factory or several factories before it can be food. Although I don't even think what you turn that stuff into should be dignified with the word food. So there's a direct link between the way we're farming and the way we're eating.
Most of the world, so the European Union, Australia, Canada, they're very similar. Monocultures are the preferred economic model. It might vary slightly, so we have more wheat, for example, than corn. And sugar beet has replaced Caribbean sugar plantations, and they're massively subsidized by the European Union to make sugar equally cheap in Europe as it would be in places close to the Caribbean. It's a worldwide problem now that the US, as often, started it off, showed how people could get rich on this, how big corporations could make even more money, and how all these byproducts could be sold to consumers. And yeah, the rest of the world has a sweet tooth as well, as absolutely embraced it.
It's very interesting, and he has a fair point. If you have cheap corn, you're going to have cheap everything else because you're feeding whatever you're growing. Let's say chicken or beef, cattle, whatever you're growing, you're giving them a lesser quality product, right? So they're not going to develop the way they're supposed to. They're not going to ingest all the nutrients that they need in order to pass it down to the meat so that we can consume that and be healthier. It's just like, it's a trickle down effect, right? Now we need to cover the rise of ultra processed food and artificial ingredients. Well, I don't know about ultra processed food, but yeah, we need to cover the rise of processed food and artificial ingredients, especially those colors. Can't see it anymore. Oh my God, this is so real. That's how I got into moringa, because I was trying to find some healthier alternatives. I can't pronounce that right. Than just all these chips and cookies that I would find in the supermarket. Because you go to the supermarket and it's all just brand, right? Beautiful colors and all this just brand, but not a lot of really healthy alternatives. And all those supposedly health bars and all that, I really dislike the way they taste. I hate their texture, and the so-called fruit that they use doesn't even taste like the fruit that they're claiming it is. And I don't know how people eat that. And I'm sorry if you're one of those. I don't want to criticize you like that, but that's just my opinion. It's like, that's not even breakfast. The first thing you should put in your body should be something completely healthy and natural, right? You're breaking your fast. But if the first thing you're putting in your body is one of those processed healthy breakfast bar, no wonder you're sluggish and you're sick, you're constipated, you got stomach cramp and stomach pain. You're not feeding your body right.
This is not sustainable. Since May of 2019, restaurants have increased their prices by almost 40%, while the quality of their product has gone down. They continue to use ingredients that are banned in other countries, while others are adding enough sugar to send you to the hospital. Now we're seeing franchisees go bankrupt, locations are shutting down, and Pizza Hut was just sold to private equity. People are waking up and starting to demand more. And if you're one of the 85 million Americans that eats fast food every week, you can start by finding healthier options when eating out by downloading the Proof app.
Cheese or pasta? No way. Cheese crackers? I think those were cheese crackers. They didn't show all the way though.
Over the last 40 years, the United States has been exposed to something that our biology was never intended to handle. Energy dense, highly palatable, rapidly absorbable, ultra processed foods that have altered our metabolism and have resulted in the greatest increase in chronic disease in our history. Type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, hypertension, abnormal lipids, fatty liver, heart attacks, stroke, heart failure. From our food. From our food.
You see? See what I mean? Why? What? I know it's all about profits, but it's unaliving a human being actually profitable? Is that because the way that I see it, the more human beings pass away, the less humans to actually consume that product or spend their money. So it should be the other way around. Instead of unaliving us slowly, they should try to keep us alive for longer and find ways for us to gain more money so that we can feel free to spend like crazy like we used to do back in the 90s and the early 2000s.
This dirty brown sludge is what you eat every day. This food is linked to clogged arteries, packed with high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated fats, and stabilizers that rip through your gut and fuel inflammation. And some people actually feed this snack to their kids. I'm talking about Snickers, the so-called snack. I scanned one. The Exposure app flagged it as 80% fake ingredient.
No, that's like one of my favorite candy bars. Supposedly it's Reese's, but that's the one I eat the most. I just love the way caramel tastes with the peanuts and the chocolate. But man, really? Like I knew it was already bad for me. I was just really, really ignoring it. Sometimes we think that if we don't know the truth and we are blind to it or ignorant to it, it's kind of like a placebo effect and we don't have nothing to worry about. But man, the way everything is going, I don't think it's not placebo anymore. Snickers, why? Okay.
Hey, let's get some.
Oh, I remember these. I remember this show, great show, and I know exactly what episode he's talking about. I hope this doesn't get copyrighted or not. I will try to use it in this video. Let's see what happens.
Ice cream.
Hold up. If it gets flagged for copyright, I'll probably just lower the volume, but I'll still be able to watch the animation.
How about this one? Pistachio, almond fruit fudge, butterscotch delight.
Ingredients: zinc trisodium aspartate, sorbitol and bisulfate, oxide beta carotene, lactic acid carabine. Grade A milk emulsified, maltodextrin alkali, silicon dioxide, lots of sugar, calcified synthetic salt, artificial barley malt, glycerin and aspartate, folic acid. That tastes great! Monosodium glutamate, dehydrated calciumate, soybean oil, butter, fat, carbohydrates. I'll eat that. Hooray for sugar, cause we love it. Chocolate chips, we want more of it. Cakes and ice cream, want to shove it down our throats real fast. Here's a candy bar, you tried it? Hey, let's all see what's inside it. Gelatin, nitroglycerin, phosphate, soybean lecithin, deoxylite, trisilicon, dipped in chocolate, rated R, citrus enzymes, DHT, powdered milk, not good to me. Baking soda, carob gum, carbohydrate, monosodium glutamate, zinc disodium alginate, whole grain flour, yeast and fat. Time to eat it. I'll do that. We like sweets a lot, so give us all you got, and we'll stuff them in our bodies till they make our insides rot.
Basically, that's what they want. They want us to stuff it in our bodies and make our insides rot because we are constipated and we're not flushing out these toxins. So they're just going to sit in there and slowly poison us 1 minute, 1 day at a time. Wow. How come they don't make cartoons like that anymore? Okay, so now we're going to cover food additives, preservatives, and other consumers' concerns, actually.
This is why I have trust issues. Millions of people consume these 40 products. And this report from Yucca and Consumer Reports found that after testing them, 1/4 contained additive levels in a single serving that exceeded daily safety levels identified by US or European public health agencies. And nearly 2/3 of the 40 products tested contained at least one additive that exceeded levels of concern according to these peer-reviewed studies. And 5 of the products analyzed contained enough red 40 in a single serving to exceed the daily safety limits for children. And the Hostess mini powdered donuts contain 261 milligrams of titanium dioxide in a single serving. This represents more than 760 times the combined amount found in the 3 other products tested that contain this additive. And these additives show up frequently in fast food, but restaurants do not disclose their exact quantity. So knowing when certain additives are present in your food can help you make better decisions when you're eating out. I encourage you all to read the full report, which I'll link below, and if you want to find healthier options when eating out.
An alarming new report found that some food additives like food coloring and preservatives can pose health risks for your children. The report also found chemicals in food packaging are a concern, and Dr. Jennifer Ashton is here to tell us more about it. I know that you have the study.
Robin, this is it. It's hot off the presses. It appeared in the Journal of Pediatrics, and it's really about awareness here. It evaluated the strongest clinical evidence and data about food additives and compounds in food containers. So we're talking about things like bisphenols, phthalates.
Oh my God. What is that?
Nitrites and nitrates, which then can interact with other compounds and cause some health problems, and food coloring and what kind of health risks they pose to this vulnerable age group while systems are developing and kids might be getting actually a higher exposure to these things than even we do as an adult.
And parents are also...
Yeah, but that's because kids have a faster absorption rate and they have faster metabolism. That's the real reason why it reacts faster with them, and the reason they crave it more, because they're constantly ingesting and pushing out, right? But once these kids start getting overweight and they start getting constipated and all these chemicals start staying inside, it starts creating all these other problems like hyperactivity, ADHD. Like, honestly, they say that kids are born with ADHD and all that. Man, no, honestly, no. I think it's a combination factors of our environment, the food the mother ingests while she's pregnant, and what they are ingesting once they're kids, right? And I'm guilty of that too. It's that once we have our kids, sometimes we want to treat them, give them a nice little treat, candy, a snack, because we grew up with those and we think it's fine. I'm not sick, it's fine. But over time, these products change, and they change the recipe, and they start adding other stuff, cut corners, increase profits. So pretty sure that the Twinkies we eat now are not the same when they first made them. But that's an example. We all know that Twinkies are horrible for your health. Like, even my wife bought some Twinkies and Ho-Hos. I'm like, oh my God, you buy so much junk food, but I don't throw away the Twinkies, I throw away the Ho-Hos. Like, I know it's bad, but I still ate the Ho-Hos. And my daughter's like, I don't like Twinkies. I'm like, did you try them? I'm like, no. It's like, I'm glad you don't like them and you don't want to try them, but you should never say you don't like something if you don't try it. But I mean, I'm proud of you. Don't eat Twinkies, period. Anyway, let's continue.
Concerned about how coloring and preservatives when it comes to ADHD.
Right. Now, to be clear, the data on the risk between food colorings, and there are about 9 or 10 of them that are approved for use in this country, and ADHD is not totally conclusive. There is some data that suggests that with kids with ADHD reduce their exposure.
Like I was just saying, see, kids that have a reduced exposure to these artificial dyes. Wait, where's she going with this? I didn't hear exactly all she had to say. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Exposure to food coloring, their symptoms may get a little better.
Exactly. I thought that's what she was going to say, but exactly my point. If we remove these chemicals and these artificial dyes, these kids actually do better. They manage to concentrate more. Have you ever tried going to bed after 3 coffees or, I don't know, 2 or 3 sodas? You can't sleep. You're full of caffeine. Imagine these kids that are super sensitive because they have like really young virgin body, and I have to say it like that because everything in their bodies are virgins. Like, their stomachs are brand new, their lungs are brand new, everything, right? So they absorb these things faster, and not only they absorb it faster, they react to it faster. So by eliminating these chemicals and these compounds and these dyes, we help them combat these conditions that they're supposedly born with.
Real concern is a food dye, blue number 1, which can potentially cross the blood-brain barrier. But it's not just ADHD and food coloring. We're talking about other things that we've probably heard about, endocrine disruptors that can affect puberty, fertility. They can lead to obesity. They can affect the way the thyroid gland functions, and they can be implicated in the causation of certain cancers. So this is all about exposure in our food supply in a very vulnerable age group.
So what can we do to protect our children?
You know, I think that
just don't give them that.
This is common sense, but it bears repeating. I think we need to, all of us, eat from the farm, not the factory. We need to try and minimize our consumption of processed foods. In general, the containers tend to be an issue. So if you can use glass and not plastic, and stainless steel, don't reheat those things unless it's glass, and limit.
Look, everything plastic leaches into our food, period. Like, I don't know why they put things in plastic into another plastic bag. It just makes no sense. But
109 ingredients and 17 different additives. That is how Burger King makes their rodeo burger. They use calcium peroxide, which is banned in China, potassium iodide, which in excess can disrupt thyroid function, and sodium acid pyrophosphate, where the concern is
oh my God, that's why it tastes so good. No, don't listen to me.
cumulative phosphate exposure. And the last time that I checked, a burger doesn't need all this extra crap in there. So if you want to find healthier options when eating out, download the Proof app.
The natural citric acid in your kid's snack doesn't come from fruit. It's synthesized from black mold. Ugh. And the FDA is protecting the companies doing it. Nah, I don't believe that. Really? From black mold? Check your pantry right now for organic fruit snacks to hummus to juice boxes. It is legally pumped into almost everything. Well, citric acid was originally derived from lemons. But we all know these chemists always find a way to make it cheaper. So wow, black mold, I gotta research that. The food industry hasn't actually extracted citric acid from real fruit in over 100 years. What? No, come on, man, you're lying. Instead, mega corporations manufacture it by feeding genetically modified corn syrup to a mold called Aspergillus. I ain't gonna say that word, bro. You ain't gonna me in trouble. Yes, the exact same black mold that grows in the damn rotting basement is used to synthesize your food flavoring. Man, that's diabolical. Millions of people suffer from unexplained brain fog, joint pain, and severe bloating. Yeah, that's number one, bloating. They think it's gluten or dairy allergies. Dairy allergies. In the previous video, there was a clip with this kid saying that he's been like gluten-free for 16 years, and once he went to Spain, he started eating bread again because he would feel bloated and he had gluten allergies and all this stuff. Well, supposedly, I don't know, but supposedly gluten allergy makes you constipated, it makes you break out in rash, it gives you that brain fog, and it just keeps you tired and fatigued. So now we know it's not really the gluten, because it's not gluten anymore. Again, you got to watch that video so you can see what they're doing to the bread, but it's not gluten anymore. It's just straight up poisonous sugar. They're deliberately keeping us sick and unhealthy so they can make more money. It's actually systematic inflammatory allergic reaction to the hidden mold residue legally left behind during the minute. What? An allergic reaction to the hidden mold residue. That makes perfect sense. Let me tell you this. If you eat moldy bread, you're going to get horrible stomach cramp like on your gut. The same pain that you would get if you ingest hydrogen peroxide. Well, hydrogen peroxide, ingesting like that could actually unalive you, right? So don't ever do that. Just, accidental exposure will give you that horrible gut pain. But it makes sense why people are constantly complaining. It's a residual from the mold. Doesn't bread get black mold? Or is it the same mold or is it a different type of mold? I'm gonna look that up. So citric acid production is from that fungus Aspergillus N-word. And the bread mold is commonly found growing on bread is typically Rhizopus stolonifer. So it's different, which is a distinction from the other one, from the Aspergillus N-word. All right, let's continue. But the FDA categorizes this lab-grown mold byproduct as safe and allows company to label it as 100% natural. Man, that's so deceitful. So you can't trust the labels. You can't trust what they say. I know for a matter of fact, when it says 100% sugar-free, it just means it doesn't have sugar cane. It can have any other kind of sugar. A lot of people don't know that. Sometimes they end up using more sugar to be able to sweeten it properly. So just keep that in mind. Why? Because synthesizing mold in a lab is 90% cheaper than squeezing real lemons. It's always about corporate profit, huh? So yeah, you're paying premium prices for organic food that is quietly destroying your gut with industrial mold. Man, I'm disgusted right now. Speechless. That's so disturbing.
Goldfish crackers are at the center of a lawsuit after mislabeling a preservative that's fermented from black mold. That same preservative shows up across multiple versions of this product.
Every cracker your toddler eats contains mutilated cheese inflated 15 times beyond real cheddar.
Mutilated cheese. You know what's the first time I hear that description? And I'm gonna use it whenever I melt some cheese or I use grated cheese.
It begins as a white block, dyed orange with annatto. That block gets broken down in a lab.
Annatto's natural, but a lot of people don't know. They probably never heard of it. It's actually a seed from a plant. I don't know what plant, but it's used for coloring and it's natural and it's actually cheap, extremely cheap. That's why they use it here.
Injected with enzymes until all that's left is powder. And yet the packaging claims no preservatives. That powder is bound with industrial oil and preserved with citric acid, fermented from black mold, then baked into your cracker.
I think making this video was a bad idea for me. I'm like, oh man, don't get me wrong, I love junk food, but at the same time, I avoid it like the plague. I practice fasting, and when I break my fast, I like to break it with moringa. Fresh powder or in my base, because I put it in the base for cooking. I cook with it every day. And the best thing about moringa is that it regulates you. Yes, it regulates you. You, after like 3 or 4 days of using it, you start going to the bathroom normally. And it's a great feeling when you actually empty your bowels the normal way. You get up and you feel like, oh my God, I dropped like 20,000 pounds. It's just great. You don't feel sluggish afterwards. You're not dragging anything from 3 or 4 days ago. It just flushes you out. I went from size 42 to size 34 in about a year. And yeah, exercising a little bit. I wasn't really exercising that much. I wasn't fasting every day. I was fasting like every other week. I would fast a day or two, right? But not like together. I would fast 1 day or maybe 2 days out of the week, and then I would break my fast with moringa. And that really, really helped me a lot, to the point where I was able to stop taking a whole bunch of medications. This is not medical advice, right? I'm just saying, this is my story. This is what I did for my health, and I don't regret it. It was hard at first because I didn't like how moringa tasted. But then once I learned to use it and started mixing it with other ingredients and, balancing it out, sweet, salty, and sour, obviously, and a little bit of acid, I found the right spot for moringa, man. Wow. The flavor it brings out on your food is just amazing.
See this preservative. It's called sodium benzoate, and it's in soda, juice, sports drinks, and even condiments. It's added to stop mold and bacteria. But here's what they don't tell you. When sodium benzoate mixes with vitamin C, it can form benzene, a chemical linked to cancer. That reaction has been studied for
Benzene? You're not supposed to breathe that in because it can unalive you. That's how bad that is. And they're putting it in soda? No. That's my vice. My biggest vice is soda. I know I've been struggling really hard for years to try to quit. I think the longest I can go without drinking soda is 3 days. And no, I'm not proud of that.
years, and it's been found in beverages sitting on store shelves. But sodium benzoate isn't just used in food. It's also used in antifreeze, industrial corrosion prevention, and metal treatment fluids. Same preservative, different industries, still approved for food, still in drinks kids consume every day, hidden in the label.
I'm gonna say it again. I think making this video was a really bad idea for me. I'm gonna stop eating for like 3 months, man. Like, I'll be so afraid of eating. No, I love to eat. I don't know if you told already, I'm a little bit passionate about food. That's because I spent a good chunk of my life in the culinary industry. You know, I worked in cruise ship, dining facilities, you know, mom and pop shops, franchise restaurants, you know, you name it. Even sandwich shop. I love making sandwiches because honestly, I believe sandwich making is an art. And learn to cure your own meats as well. Learn to make jerky. In the good old days, and I have to say it, in the good old days, they would take a deer, you know, they didn't have fridges, so they had to smoke it and dehydrate it. The best part about dehydrated meat is that as long as it's preserved, when it's time to cook, make a stew or whatever, you just let it hydrate for a few hours, or you let it marinate, incorporate that flavor, and then you use it in your meals. I know a lot of professional chefs might not agree with what I'm saying because they have techniques and, develop palates and all this, and plus all the knowledge. But honestly, my preferred preservation method for meat is dried and curing. Honestly, you can't go wrong. Get yourself a dehydrator if you can, or if you have one, start practicing. Start making dry beef, dry jerky, or game. I don't recommend chicken or pork, although you can do it. And if you do, you have to cook them fully first. And if you're gonna do chicken breast, you need to cook it in oil. I suggest tallow, lard, or real butter, so it can stay nice and juicy. Once it's fully cooked, slice it up, and then put it in the dehydrator machine. The reason I say oil is because once you cook chicken breast with water, steam it, it just becomes overly dry, which makes no sense to me because you're using water. I'm not a doctor, scientist. I can't really explain why it does that. But anyway, moving on.
Look at the ingredient label of a Chick-fil-A sandwich, which I believe has over 50.
I'm gonna get some hate over this.
50 ingredients, most of which is not what you would consider a food. So it's not just the food dyes, it's the emulsifiers, it's the conditioning agents, it's the preservatives. We've been running the largest uncontrolled science experiment on humanity for 50 years because none of these things are properly tested.
That is true. If you're a fan of chicken patties or chicken nuggets, hit me up in the comments. Yeah, hit me. I'm gonna tell you right now. Hit me up in the comments. I'll give you a recipe to make chicken nuggets or chicken patties, and I can walk you through the process. I can even email it to you if you send me your email. But we gotta stop buying all this processed food. You can make it yourself. I know it's a lot of work. I understand. Like, I really understand. I've done this. It's a lot of work, but it's well worth it, man. It's well worth it. Anyway, let's try moving on from this. All right, now we're gonna cover the relationship between stewardship and nutrition.
Here's what good stewardship actually looks like. Let's talk about food and calories first for a second. Food is made up of calories. Calories are simply energy for activity. It is no different than gasoline for your vehicle, which is potential energy to get converted into kinetic energy, okay? If you're consuming more energy, aka calories, than you're willing to use in activity, this is poor stewardship. It is the equivalent of you going, I need to fill up my car, and you put in the gas into the vehicle, it fills up $30, $35, $40, and you see it's filled up, but now you keep pouring it in. This is poor stewardship. But if you start thinking of food being just like gasoline, any gasoline you pour extra in your car goes out of the car onto the ground, and it is wasted. You waste money. With food, unfortunately, it doesn't spill out of the car and onto the ground and waste money. No. It spills out onto the hips, onto the belly, onto the shoulders, the neck, the organs, which is our brown visceral fat. Not only does it cost you money, it costs you your health.
Bro, Bruce Wayne over here has a point. I think what he's trying to refer to is that we just keep eating. It doesn't spill out. It just stays into our body because our bodies are designed to store energy.
As a nutrition coach, I'm not going to tell you to eat this food and don't eat that food, but I will ask you if the foods that you're consuming are helping you to feel better or not good at all. If you're stewarding your body well for the Lord, you're going to be picking the foods that are making you feel better. It takes time and a level of awareness that most of us ignore. But if you're ready and willing, the Lord is waiting for you to show you the way.
I think that's the main thing. It takes time, trial and error, practice. Most of us, we just consume because it tastes good or it makes us feel good. Well, maybe at the moment, at that time. But after we eat it, like, for example, there's certain food that will give me heartburn. So I try to avoid them before I go to bed. But during the day, I'll still eat them and they'll still get a little bit of heartburn or, just a little bit of gas or whatnot. And I'm like burping and repeating it and just tasting it. It's like, no, why? And sometimes I put myself through this torture just because I like that food. I like the texture, or I like the flavor. But the truth of the fact is, if I already know it's bad for me, I shouldn't be eating it, period. It doesn't matter if it tastes good. It doesn't matter if I like the texture. It doesn't matter if it's readily available or easy or convenient. You already know it's not good for you, but I still eat it. It's like, man, I guess it's like a vice. Or crack addicts, I guess. They know crack is bad for them, but they still come back and smoke that rock. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but it's just the way I had to compare it.
Food is meant to fuel your life, not to be your master.
If your body is a temple, let me ask you something. Shouldn't stewardship show up in how you treat it? For me, that shows up in how I live, how I train, and how I eat. Most of the time, I treat food as fuel. Simple meals, lean protein, and vegetables. A lot of my meals honestly look like pork tenderloin and broccoli. After I got saved and started cleaning my life up, I really felt like God was pushing me to start stewarding my body better and stay away from a lot of the toxic foods that I used to eat. About 90% of the time I'm eating to fuel my body, and maybe 10% of the time I eat something because I want to or because I enjoy it. What's worked best for me is finding simple things that work and repeating them. It's not about perfection, it's about discipline. How do you think about stewardship when it comes to how you eat?
Amen, brother. Well said. And I need to, this is a new concept for me, stewardship. I had to look up the definition. And I never thought of that way. I've been slowly, but when was the last time I ate pork? I think I had some pork rinds the other day, but I've been slowly pushing myself away from pork. Ham, no, not bacon. I'm sorry, I can't do bacon. That's the only thing. But what I like about bacon is that since you're cooking it in high heat, and because of all the fat, I'm pretty sure you're killing off a lot of the bacteria and parasites and I don't know if it has viruses, but all this bad stuff that's actually bad for you. But I have been, I've been self-conscious about the things that I eat, and I've been desperately trying to remove pork from my diet, which kind of sucks because it's part of my cultural heritage. And I really miss eating our most famous dish.
I am a person of faith. I believe that God gave us one body and that we should steward that one body well. And in fact, when I started to view the body as one to steward, when I took hold of my nutrition and my hormones and workout and doing those disciplines, my relationship with Him grew closer. Some people think that faith and health are two separate things, but in reality, they're interconnected. When you take care of the body, when you train, when you eat well, when you do the right disciplines, you're honoring the gift that God gave you. You're stewarding your body well. You show up with...
That's the thing, I've never seen it like that. I'm not saying I don't see it like that now, but I didn't see it like that before. And learning all this makes a lot of sense of what I'm trying to do, but at the same time, it's just like a slap to my face. It's like, you just gotta eat better. I'm like, okay, all right. But it's gonna take time. I'm not rich. I can't afford all this, what do they call them? All this, you can tell by these products. All this organic stuff. Oh my God, I'm horrible.
More energy, more clarity, and more discipline to live out your calling and your purpose. And here's the reality. A lot of people go to church, but they don't treat their body like a temple. And on the flip side, there's a lot of men that obsess over their fitness and their physique, and they totally neglect their faith and spiritual health. Neither one is complete. To me, life is best with both. Strengthen the body and strengthen the spirit. That's the path to real fulfillment. I'm Dr. Steven Sanders, and if you want to pursue men's health from a spiritual and physical perspective, follow along for more insights.
That was great. Let me give him a like and a follow, because you're Dr. My G, you're doctor. Okay, so now we're going to cover that convenient culture, all that ready-to-eat food, that grab and go versus intentional living.
New day, clean slate, fresh start. You get to create your life. So, two paths, conventional or intentional. I choose to live an intentional life. So I am a bit of a rebel as an artist. I saw early on growing up that the conventional life makes people miserable. And you're not a sheeple, you're not a robot, right? So first, aligning with God, I allow the Holy Spirit to lead my day. I stay in that flow. So take your power back over all the things. Even the idea that you have to do things the way everyone else does them. You get to choose every single morning. You're gonna live an intentional life or a conventional life. Live a life of freedom, creativity, service, and joy. Living intentional.
Amen, sister. I really like what you said.
There's a difference between life getting better and life becoming more convenient. For millennials and Gen Zers, over these 50 years of all this wealth in America, life did not get better. It got more convenient. For instance,
He has a point.
DoorDash isn't better, it's convenient.
And it's keeping us broke. I'm just glad I don't use it. And you shouldn't either.
Millennials and Gen Zers would trade DoorDash and would trade Amazon to disappear if over 50 years instead of that, we built high-speed rails, and now we could get anywhere in America and anywhere in our city with fast, safe, reliable transportation. That would be better. Like when you boomers grew up, some of you didn't have central air. Some of you didn't have hot water. Getting hot water and central air isn't convenient. That is better quality of life. Us today having a 4-day work week would have been better. Having health care for $100 a person a month would have been better. Going to college for $2,500 a year would have been better. How could the country grow this much wealth and this much economic output and it does not show up in America? What did we build here?
Great question. We just built convenience. We didn't build a better life. And I think convenience just makes us lazier. Honestly, it does. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not calling anybody lazy, but convenience does make us lazy. Remember when TVs didn't have a remote? You had to get up and change the channel. Man, I keep giving out my age.
It's a slippery slope. Convenience one day, it's about saving time, but before you know it, convenience turns into reliance. Reliance on food, education, medicine, technology, businesses. Our lives seemingly got easier, but at what cost? We willingly handed over the keys to our health, mental and physical. We signed ourselves up for a life of ease without questioning what we were sacrificing. We saved time in our homes only to have to spend more time away from home to continue to afford our easy lives. We've accepted indoctrination and propaganda in classrooms as education instead of taking the time to question the curriculum. We traded real, nutrient-dense food for convenient options from grocery stores or drive-through windows. We eagerly chose to normalize lab-created pills over medicine that comes from the earth because it's easier, faster. Life has become so convenient for us because we're no longer the ones in control of our health and well-being. Do you know who is? The people that profit from our reliance, from our poor health, from our addictions, from us lacking the ability to think critically. Zombies already exist. The infection started when we handed over the keys to our life, and until we wake ourselves up, until we realize the real trade that we made, we'll continue to suffer. We traded our lives for convenience so they could profit. I'll say that again. We traded our lives for convenience so they could profit. A grand scheme they pulled off very successfully. But what they don't want us to realize, we're the ones in control, and it's time to take it back.
Yes, ma'am. Right on. We need to take it back. We need to take our nutrition back, our freedom, and the way we live. Honestly, the more we buy into their propaganda, the more we buy into the propaganda, and the more we rely on their products, the more complacent we become. And in the end, man, we won't even know how to make. I don't know how to make pasta. I know how to cook it. I don't know how to make it, right? What if all you could get is flour? How would you survive then? You don't know how to make bread. You don't know how to make pasta. Well, maybe some people do, but I'm just putting that out there. Oh man, it's gonna be rough when the end comes.
Convenience culture convinced an entire generation that cooking, planning, and waiting waste valuable time. It's wild how we have time to scroll for an hour, but not 30 minutes to make dinner. We're not too busy, we're conditioned, and it's making us broke.
Facts. I want to play that again.
That's what we're trying to. Convenience culture convinced an entire generation that cooking, planning, and waiting waste valuable time. It's wild how we have time to scroll for an hour, but not 30 minutes to make dinner. We're not too busy, we're conditioned, and it's making us broke.
We're not too busy, we're conditioned, and that's making us broke. In every sense of the word. Broken knowledge, broken wealth, and broken health. Convenience. It doesn't sound so convenient now, does it? Okay, so now we're going to cover the impact of corporate influence on our food supply.
Having an abundant food supply seems freeing, but it really just opens your eyes to corporate control. We're living in a food system with a surplus in calories, but nutrients are scarce, and no food proves this better than bread. You see, a freshly milled wheat berry has 40 of the 44 nutrients essential for human life. For 10,000 years, we grew it nearby, ground it between two stones, and ate the whole thing the same day. But in 1879, the steel roller mill stripped off the bran and germ, the only nutritious parts, and sold them as livestock feed. seed. This made the flour shelf stable but also nutritionally dead, so the government mandated we add back 4 synthetic vitamins and call it enriched. Then we wanted to scale, so the railroads gave bulk discounts only to mega mills, so 23,000 local mills collapsed to where today only 4 companies control 70% of US flour. And somehow everyone just blames gluten, but the root issue is bleached, chemically altered, fake vitamin flour you can eat fine in Italy, but not in America. And this is what corporate abundance actually looks like. Calories without nutrients from bread without bakers. I've been finding all the real sourdough that's still out there on the Localize app because this is how we bring back nutrients and rebuild local economies. The only reason they'll continue to profit off nutrient void abundance is because we still have not woken up.
Fair point. We need to wake up. We covered this in the bread episode. Yeah, it's obviously in the flour. It starts with the flour. Oh my God, you gotta grow it, mill it. Oh no, process it, and oh man, that's like a week-long process. Now I don't know how long it takes, but that's how it's gonna feel though. Let's move on.
We sat here and ate beef 3, 4, 5 days a week for, as far as I'm concerned, over a decade of contaminated beef. How much is in my system? How much is in my kids' system? It's hard to say.
There's something poisoning America's farms. A chemical that was built in a lab decades ago by companies who knew in private that it was highly toxic. Now that chemical is showing up almost everywhere.
It is a Pandora's box. It's going to blow up and people are going to find out it's in it and everything and it's in everyone and there's nothing to clean it up and there's nothing to save you from it.
Toxic PFAS, also known as
forever chemicals.
PFAS are in so many consumer products. Non-stick pans,
Dental floss, computer chips,
shampoos, and conditioners.
Whether it's gone down the river and contaminated fresh drinking water for people or if it's on farmland and you're eating it, it's out there.
We have a mass poisoning of our population.
Forever chemicals are linked to a number of serious health issues.
How can a company knowingly have contaminated the groundwater?
Forever chemicals, man. There has to be a way. There just has to be a way to get rid of them. They say they can. I'm just pretty sure they haven't found a way, or they have to invest too much money to find one. This is just horrible.
Not many people realize our food is being controlled by corporations from seed.
Look at those beautiful corn. Look at those beautiful colors. That's natural. Why can't we get that nowadays? Come on.
To supermarket. 4 firms control a majority of global seed and pesticide sales. Just 4 also control a majority of beef at 85%, chicken at 51%, and pork at 66%. When you finally get to the supermarket, it's also just 4 corporations that control 69% of the US grocery market. So I just launched my map of over 30,000 farms and ranches with everything you could want, from grass-fed beef to pasture-raised eggs and raw honey. And already 4,000 of you have used it, showing us that shopping local is the future. This will allow us freedom from the chokehold major corporations have on the food system for a better decentralized one.
You know what we need to find out? A little bit of discernment in this world of conflicting health information. Because some people do say certain things, others say others. And it is a fact that throughout this video, we've seen all the, not seen, but also heard of all the different chemicals they're putting in our food. And I'm pretty sure that there's still even more that we don't even know about.
We're at a time in history when you can no longer take things at face value, when you can no longer just assume that whatever someone's telling you is correct, especially authority figures. And there are so many different rabbit holes we could go on talking about this, but the rabbit hole I want to talk about is the medical system, the medical paradigm. If you have a doctor or a medical authority telling you that you have to do this or that you can't heal or whatever it is, make sure you're doing your due diligence to check in with yourself. Is that actually true for me? Does that feel right in my body? Because whatever we believe is powerful, our brain literally sorts for information to prove our beliefs right. Make sure you're checking in with yourself first before taking on anything. Curious if you've had any experiences like this, where you've had a medical professional or a teacher or any authority telling you something and you felt in your body like, I don't think that's right. I have, and I'm so grateful to past younger versions of myself that felt the red flag go up, that felt the bullshit radar go off and said, no, that's not for me. I'm not taking that on. I'm not believing in that. Curious if you had any moments like this, or maybe you're smack dab in the middle of a moment like this right now.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that you have physical discernment as much as you have spiritual discernment. And a lot of times they're connected. Your physical body will express deficiencies and issues internally, and sometimes they land on your face. So I always look at people when they first walk into my clinic because I can tell a lot about you and what's going on inside, deficiency-wise or toxicity-wise, just by looking at your face. I also take a look at your tongue and your nails, just like in the olden days when you used to go to the doctor's office and they would look at your inside your mouth and they would take a look at your face, and they would look in your eyes and your ears, and they would look at your nails. That doesn't happen today. They're usually looking at their computer screen. So here's a simple way to tell if you have some digestive issues. First thing, digestion shows up here on your cheeks, and this will normally be like red cheeks, or you could have acne on your cheeks or something like that. On your tongue, it'll show up as a heavy crack down the middle of your tongue. Sometimes that crack will have little jagged edges that go off to the side. And on your nails will be vertical lines that are kind of faint that go along the nail bed up and down straight forward.
I can't believe I'm going to say I actually know what she's talking about. I've seen exactly the things that she's saying.
So those three indicators can indicate, not that it's diagnostic, but can indicate that you are not digesting, absorbing, and assimilating the nutrients that you should. So if you have any of those indicators, you might need a little bit of support for your digestive process. The other sign may be the fact that you get gas or bloating after eating, or if you're already on some sort of prescription medication for digestion or over the counter. A few things that I would recommend for you if you do have digestive issues would be enzymes. Full spectrum, plant-based, you just take one with each meal. Enzymes are like construction workers. They help break down food into smaller particles and pieces so that your body can utilize them, absorb them, and assimilate them. Probiotics. Probiotics are awesome. They're like the fingerprint of you. Everybody's probiotic, or what we call microbiome, which is a whole system of probiotics, is very exclusive and different. It's actually individualized to you. So taking a good probiotic every single day will enhance not only your digestion, but your overall immune system. Probiotics make up 80% of your immune system function, and for every cell in your body, which you have tens of thousands of cells, you have 10 times the probiotic base. So it does show you how extremely important probiotics are. So remember guys, your body will tell you what's going on inside. You just have to take a look and pay attention to the symptoms, the screaming child. Stop suppressing it with medications, telling it to shut up and go away. The best thing you can do is change your lifestyle, change your nutrition, and do some things that are going to help your nutrient density from the inside out. Health is either an investment or an expense. The choice will be yours where you spend your money.
Wow, I like that one. I'm gonna use it. I'm definitely gonna use it. Health is either an investment or an expense. You choose how you treat your body. Well, Dr. Tracy, you earned a like and a follow. Great information. Thank you so much. Now, yeah, I think with that we covered that last subject, and all we have to do is just ask, are we honoring God with what we put into our bodies? No? Yes? It all depends. Now let me read you one of my favorite Bible verses. Whatever therefore you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all in the glory of God. Amen. Well, thank you for sticking around for so long. This is the end of the video. I truly appreciate you being here and watching till the end. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I know I don't say that in every video. I don't really feel like I had to say the need. I don't want to tell you guys what to do. You do what you got to do. If you feel the need to share, you feel the need to subscribe, like, whatever, comment, that's up to you. However, I do want to tell you, thank you for everything. And like always, later, my G. Good night.